Happy Friday, FlossTube. It is Friday, February 21st. By the time that you are seeing this video, I'm recording this on Thursday morning. I am headed out to a small stitching retreat later this afternoon with about 20 people, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is a small retreat that happens in Ingersoll, Ontario at the Elmhurst Inn, and there's another one happening in June, and there are, as far as I know, there are still a few spots available, and we always have a really good time. Just a really small, intimate retreat, and we just stitch the weekend away, which is nice. So as you can see, I'm working today on Frederika. I have put a couple of hours into this since I shared it on Monday FlossTube, but all of my progress is in the border to the right of what's in the frame today. I thought I was just aiming for some simple stitching today, so I thought I would start filling in the little date sign there. So again, Frederika, and this is Carriage House Samplings, designer that I always enjoy. I just think that her patterns are beautiful, just beautiful. So, yep, the fill-in, and that is DMC. I'm using all the called for colors. It is DMC 677. No, is it? I think I might be using the wrong color. Oh, it's okay. I think I'm using 3047, but I'm supposed to be using 677. Let's see, which one did I go with? Where's my floss? Huh. Look at that. There's nothing written on my floss. I think I'm going off my memory. I know there is probably somewhere a little DMC tag or sticker that's fallen off. But this is the opposite to whatever one is in here. So let's see if I can make a good deduction here. Aha! So here we go. This is 3047, which means this is 677. And it means I'm using the right color. See how similar they are? But you can see a little bit in the camera. This one's a little bit more of a greeny yellow. Very, very faint difference. And this is a slight more of a bright yellow. And these two colors that are almost exactly the same are used in the border. So 3047 is used in the bottom, and 677 is used in the top. And it's only in certain lights that you can see it. So I did decide to do as the designer asked, charted. Sometimes I like to follow the rules, and I'm using what was called for. The called for linen for this is a purled barley linen. I am using a Picture This Plus. I think it's either a 28 count or a 32. I think it's a 32. It seems a little bit tighter than a 28. I really should take out my measuring tape and measure it, but I didn't. And it's the doubloon colorway, which has always been a favorite of mine. I apologize for the camera being on an angle. I have tried several iterations of recording setup here this morning, and this was the one where I thought, that's it, just go on and do it, because I couldn't, it's my eyes, for these types of projects, well, let's face it, for any stitching now, as my eyes have been changing, I've been putting my face a lot closer to the chart, the pattern, the stitching, and that can interfere with where I put my phone to record these videos. So anyways, it's on an angle, but I hope you're just here to visit with me, and hope you're stitching along and probably mostly keeping an eye on your own stitching. So I think I said I'm using the called for DMCs. Just a beautiful color palette. These are the flosses that I haven't even dug into yet. Look at those colors. I mean, it's just autumnal and beautiful. So let me flip them around so you can see the numbers. There we go. And they're they're upside down for you. I'm sorry. There and there. Anyways, I'm sure there's probably a list. These are the ones that I haven't even used at. That's 820, 829. Such a pretty color. Ah, this palette is just stunning. And these go along with the colors that are already in the design. Just beautiful. You'll have to forgive my fingernails today. I made sure they're clean. They're just it's the middle of winter and it's very dry, and you might remember I had a manicure maybe 2 months ago. I'd gone in with Sarah to get a manicure, and it was my first time getting is it gel? The gel manicure, and I'm going to be honest here. It was my own fault because I'm too impatient, and I should have gone back to the salon to have it removed. I don't have time for that. I'm not a salon kind of girl. I'm just not. I do love having it done, but I have too many other things I'd rather be doing, which, sometimes I wish I was more the kind of person who enjoyed making time for that kind of thing, because my nails would look a lot better, but I'm not. And so I was too impatient. It was growing out and I wanted it off, and nail polish remover wouldn't remove it. And so I kind of peeled it off. That's my little secret confession. And I'm sure there are many of you out there who are going, oh no, you didn't. And yeah, I did. And I had completely ruined my nails. Like, it took off, as you might expect if you have done similar thing. It took off, a certain bit of nail on the top, which was terrible. Just terrible. And so they are growing out, and I'm actually going, I booked an appointment at the little spa that's at the Elmhurst, and I'm just going to go in and have her do a quick, just cover them up with a regular nail polish that I can take off. Maybe give them a soak. My cuticles need a little bit of a bath. So I'm going to go and take care of my hands tonight. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Oh. So yeah, I am so looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to see so many good friends who I haven't seen, that I only ever see a few times a year at this retreat. And I just can't wait. There's a little bit of a wobble in my stitching. I am using my Lowry frame. This is the Lowry work stand, which I really like. I don't often use Q-snaps, but when I do, I always use the Lowry to hold them. And this is an 11 by 17 Q-snap. So I did buy the, what's it called? The long frame adapter that comes with the Lowry. I bought the extender bar, so it goes, it holds it further to the right over where my stitching area is. And I also purchased at the same time the long frame adapter. But I'm going to be honest with you, I've only ever used it once, but I didn't really like it. I know Gerald uses his all the time, and maybe I should have a better look at how he's got his set up, but I didn't like how it touched the fabric. Like it was rubbing against the fabric of the back of my project as it was holding it, and I felt like it kind of got in the way. So I maybe just need to give it another try and be a little bit more patient with it, because I really wasn't patient. I only used it a little bit and then I removed it, and I haven't tried it again since. So I really should. But it does mean that the 11 by 17 is a little bit, you can see it's a little bit more loose. But doesn't bother me. I just thought it might make a few of you a little bit seasick. I always wonder what you're stitching when you're sitting there visiting with me. I'm going to come up here and do this little stitch while I'm here. I think about what you're working on, what flosses you're using, what beautiful projects you're working on. I should have railroaded that, but I didn't. There. A lot of times when these projects are, I know they're mostly entirely for my enjoyment, I'm not overly fussy about railroading. If it was a gift for someone else, I would probably take more time and care. However, I'm just stitching this for enjoyment for myself. I wanted to share with you a little treasure that I have in my project bag with this whip, this particular whip, and it just makes me smile every time I see it. The last time I was working on this project was, to the best of my knowledge, the best of my memory, which at times isn't great, but I'm going with it. Nope, that's wrong. Let's back it up. The best of my memory, the last time I worked on this was the summer of 2018. And I had it up at the cottage with me, and I was recording, I think it was just a regular FlossTube episode. I'm not sure I had started the Friday Off the Grid videos yet, so it was probably just a regular Monday FlossTube. And I was talking about how I was working on it, and I kind of like to finish little areas as I go, and so it was really bothering me that I hadn't finished this diamond here. You'll notice I still haven't finished it. But I had taken out the floss, that color. Either I had removed it from the project bag, or I hadn't had it when I had initially kitted it up. I couldn't remember, and it didn't matter, but I was at the cottage and I didn't have 3857. So I was bemoaning the fact that I hadn't completed that little diamond. And then fast forward to the very first Hamilton stitch-in that I ever went to, and that would have been in the fall of 2018. So it was probably close to the end of the summer that I was talking about this, and then, shortly after that, I went to this little stitch-in in Hamilton, and I met Joanne C. for the very first time at the stitch-in. And we'd never met in person before. We knew of each other on Facebook, and she'd left comments before on videos. And she handed me a little card and this origami paper ort box that she'd made, and on the inside of it was a skein of 3857. And this, as you can see, it's still in there because I was just so touched that she had listened to what I was saying and remembered and took the time to do something so small and thoughtful that I was, it's those little things that mean a lot You know what I mean? Because somebody actually listened and took the time to do something for you that was just so small and so thoughtful. And I was just really touched. And so this is now living in my whip bag, in my project bag with this project, and it's going to stay in here. So even when I use some to finally, use it where it needs to be, this is going to stay with my kitted up project until I'm done. And then I'm probably still going to leave it in there as a nice little memory of a special friend. So, that's not a good story? I thought that was a good story. You might be hearing Luna snoring. She's asleep on the couch beside me again in her usual spot. I think I can get away with doing one more stitch here. Her paw is still not better. It's not fixed. We have now tried pretty much everything. Our vet clinic is out of ideas, and our next step, and I need to book that appointment on Monday. I'm just going to sew in my end here. I'm going to book that appointment on Monday. Our next step is to take her to a city that's not that far from here. It's about an hour and a half drive, called Guelph. And Guelph has it's probably one of the best veterinarian schools, anywhere. It's an amazing veterinary college, and generally if you have these kinds of issues with pets that are like this, you'll take them to see a specialist in Guelph. And we did take Daria there. This is from some border stitching that I was doing over on the right here. We took Daria there a number of years ago to see a veterinary neurologist, because she had either, we didn't know what was going on, but she'd had some sort of Bell's palsy on one side of her face, and was had a bit of vertigo, and so we were referred to a veterinary neurologist in Guelph, and they were wonderful. I mean, they were able to immediately tell which part of her spine had been affected, and they were incredible. And so the recommendation of our vet clinic at this point in time is that we go and see a veterinarian skin specialist in Guelph at the college. So that is, I guess, our next step. So she's pretty stoic, and I think that is apparently, I have heard that's fairly standard of the bully type breed of dog, bulldog, Staffordshire Terrier, French and American. I already said bulldog. She's a bulldog. She's an American bulldog cross. We think she's mixed with a Staffordshire Terrier, but we're not sure. Because, we got her from the Humane Society, and doesn't matter. She's a dog. She's Luna, but the majority of her breed is clearly some type of bulldog, and they apparently have high pain level tolerances. At least that's what I was told. And we all know, if you're told something, you have to believe it, right? So, but judging from how she, reacts on a day-to-day basis, she still pretty much does everything that you would expect a dog to do outside. She does favor it a little bit if she's been running around a lot, but again, only for a few minutes, and then, and she seems to pretty much ignore it for the most part. But it's just, it's just something I wish we could we could take care of for her, because it's clearly an irritant, and she's just such a good dog. Did you see this is from my friend Gail Bello. You all know her if you're on the Facebook group. She sent this magnet to me at Christmas time in memory of my golden Daria, who we lost last summer. And I'm always asked about this minder when I use it, and I will try to remember to put a link below. I believe it's from Gina's Unique Minders on Etsy. I'll have to double check that. I'm not exactly sure. But if Gail, if you're watching this, if you could just pop in a quick comment on where you purchased this. I know I always have a lot of people who are really interested in it because it's just so sweet and it's a nice little reminder. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can see the words there. So it's just a little memory for my stitching buddy. I wanted to mention a brand new FlossTuber because she's a fellow Canadian, and it's always so nice to find fellow Canadian stitchers. Her name is Shiloh, and she lives out in Nova Scotia. And if you're on Instagram, you probably already know Shiloh because she has a very active Instagram account and some really beautiful projects on the go. So her Instagram name, and I believe is also the same name as her YouTube channel, is XStitchMD. So the letter X, and then the word stitch, and then the letters M and D, for doctor, MD. And Shiloh is lovely, and her stitching is beautiful, and she just recorded her very first FlossTube last Monday. And I thought she did an excellent job. I already told you about Maria's first video, Maria Kutzner. I linked to her first FlossTube on Monday's video. I hope you had a chance to go and visit her. And now you can go and visit Shiloh as well. And if you are thinking about starting up a FlossTube so that you too can chat about stitching to your heart's content, I hope you do, and I hope you'll tell me about it so that I can come and visit you too. It's not for everybody. There are always going to be people who would just rather be the listeners. And we need the listeners, because if we all made FlossTube videos, there wouldn't be enough time to listen to other people. And we need people to listen to us talk and interact. So we need the listeners. So even if you don't make FlossTube videos, I think you're still part of the FlossTube community. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. I think you know what I mean. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at that. I'm not even packed yet. I haven't packed a single thing. I was going to pack last night, and then I hung out with John instead. He's been very busy this week. I told you on Monday that they had a flood last Friday at the store. And so yesterday was their big cleanup day for the basement, and they had to it took them all day, and they had to do major cleanup in the basement. So they took care of that yesterday, thankfully. But he was pretty tired when he got home, and I think he just needed a friendly face and a bit of a chat. So we just hung out, And I thought, oh heck, I can pack tomorrow. Because let's face it, remember I just said I'm not the kind of girl to take time to go to the salon. I'm not the kind of girl who's going to take 3 hours to pack a suitcase. If it's clean, it's going in the bag. And I already knew what I wanted to take for stitching because I've been planning that for 3 weeks. And I'm not taking a ton of stuff because I'd like to get some progress done. I'd like to make some progress on this. So I'm taking this piece, Frederika. I'm also taking my Michelle Garrett Literary Alice. I'm going to take Alice and work on her. And I'm taking my big gray sock. And that is it. Though now that I'm saying it, I'm thinking, really? That's it? That's all I'm going to take? I think I might have to sneak a third project in there. I think, yeah, I'm going to sneak a third project in. And I'll surprise you. I'll tell you on Monday what it was. I'm not sure exactly yet. So I guess I better start thinking about what I've got still left to pack. I also have to take a box over to the FedEx depot still. I haven't done that yet. The truck that picks up the boxes from the FedEx depot, he's not supposed to pick it up until 3 p.m. But sometimes he's early and sometimes he's late. Which, we're human, right? But if he's early and I'm running late with my box and I think, well, I've got until 3 o'clock to get it there, I've missed him before. I'll tell you, that's a little bit stressful because then it just takes an extra day to get where it needs to be. So I do try to have my box there by 2 p.m. instead of 3. So that, better safe than sorry. So I still have to do that today. And I need to stop at the grocery store on my way out of town and pick up a few drinks and snacks to take with me. I certainly don't need much because if there's one thing they do at the Elmhurst is feed you the food. There's a lot of food. So I'm thinking minimal snack and maybe some coffee pods. We don't have a Keurig here at home, but they include there's a Keurig coffee maker in every room, and so I might take a few extra pods because heaven help my roommate Tracy if I'm under caffeinated. Now look at that. There's one extra little stitch over here that I didn't get to, but pretty close. Now I'll finish that. I was going to carry the thread, but no, we'll just come up here and fill this in instead. And then when I attach my new thread, I'll start here and I'll fill in that. That'll work. So I'm ready to do the toe on the big gray sock. I've got my double point needles in my knitting bag, and at some point this weekend, and I'm really going to have to make myself do it. Doing the toe is always my least favorite part. I love just doing the round and round and round of the sock. That's my favorite part. My friend Dawn, who actually is coming this weekend, she said, why don't you, the Little Red Mitten is the knitting shop that's in St. Thomas. It's close to us, and it's just a beautiful shop. And they have someone there who has a sock machine, like a sock, what do you call it? It's a sock machine. And you can give them your skein of yarn, and for $10, they'll crank it into a tube, and like a tube of knitting. And then you can take that tube of knitting and you pick, I think you can cut it. You'd have to, pick up your stitches and whatnot. And then you put in your heel and toe. And I said to her, I said, but my favorite part of knitting the sock is the round and round and round. And my least favorite part are the heels and toes. And so that's taking away all my joy. And she said, oh, I love doing heels and toes. It's so funny how different we are, how people are different, isn't it? Oh, look at that. Look at how pretty that is. All this week, every time I've sat down to stitch this piece, I think to myself, why have I waited so long to get back to this? Because I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so hopefully when I see you on Monday, I will have I think I'm going to focus on the border and a lot more of the design work that's over here. And I can't wait to show you what I get up to. I'm also going to try and take a little bit of video this weekend, but not much, because I'd really just like to enjoy my time with my friends and not make them feel like they're being constantly recorded. And I'll see you on Monday. I will be around tomorrow night on the Facebook group, Friday Off the Grid. I hope you'll join us over there and post pictures of your starting point at 6 o'clock and then pictures of your ending point at midnight, your time. And so what I'm going to do is, what's going to be really interesting is that I will have had maybe 12 hours of stitching time from now until 6 o'clock tomorrow. And I'll post where I'm at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. So when this video goes live, the picture that I post on Facebook should hopefully look a whole lot different. And I think that'll be kind of cool. So you can see me working on this, and then I'll show you a picture, and it'll be way ahead of where I am now. So we'll see. Anyways, I better go. I haven't packed a single thing. I'm lucky I've had a shower this morning, so better get on with it. Okay. I'll see you on the Facebook group, and I'll see you on Monday for FlossTube. Have a great weekend, and happy stitching.